All right, well, we'll go ahead and kick it off. Mike Kancilia is a friend, a gentleman that we get to see out on the field with one of our subcontractors fairly regularly, a trade partner. Yeah, so thank you for cutting time out of your day to meet with us and to chat.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Sweet, Mike. Yeah, why don't you just start with what you do and kind of what your role is with your company and what your day to day looks like currently?
So currently, Nick, I'm not working. I tore my Achilles in March and have been battling getting back with that, just with surgeries and things like that. But before then, I was a project manager for a structural steel company. Day to days would vary, but mainly would usually start out with sub meetings, typically during the early parts of the week, Monday to Wednesday. A lot of contractors like to have their sub meetings then. Walk the field, make sure our crews are holding up to our schedules, and then visiting various crews and sites from there to there for the rest of the day.
So yeah, walk us through this injury a little bit. How what's what's that whole experience been like for you?
He was just telling me before you came back in here, 4 surgeries, correct?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've had 4 surgeries since April, mainly due to my incision not healing. So my Achilles is good and it has been good, but about 5 weeks after my first surgery, I just like bumped my foot a little bit and the incision just ripped right all the way open. And then ever since then, it's been a battle to get it to close. Ended up having to go to a reconstructive surgeon so that he could look at the skin and made like a bigger incision so he's able to like move skin down and close up the old hole. And yeah, but either way, starting to walk on it again, starting to do PT again, so hopefully in the next month and a half I'll be able to get back out there.
Are you're going back to the same thing, or have you moved on from what you were doing?
No, yeah, I'm no longer with selling, so I wasn't with selling
Okay,
starting in February.
gotcha.
And then I got injured, was in between 2 jobs, and because I got injured, I wasn't able to go to the second company.
Right.
And so here I've been kind of just taking it easy one day at a time, trying to just get through this damn injury.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense. What's next for you? What do you foresee? What are you trying to do?
So my old general contractor reached out to me. The one that I was working before, I was with the structural steel company. They're building again in Denver, and they're wanting me to come back. So I think the timing will work out when we start. When they start framing, to when I'll be able to get cleared and get back to work. So might be a little bit of a blessing in disguise, but it's just kind of been a bummer this summer laying around and just trying to get better, but you never know.
And what was your role with that company? And are you going to be doing the same thing?
Correct. Yeah. So I was a superintendent at that role
Yep.
at that company, and I will be doing the same thing. And it'll be probably about 4 or 5 of the same guys that I worked with before at the previous job site. So it'll be nice to go back to some familiar faces. We all know how each other work, all that good stuff. So it's not going to
Hmm.
be that awkward month or so learning what everybody's doing, how they work, how to work with them type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you have some pretty good insight after working with a subcontractor versus with a GC. What are some of the pros and cons of working for a subcontractor like a steel company?
I think a good pro of it would be that it's definitely more specialized, and that is your focus. That's your one and main focus for that job site. Specifically for me, when I was with the subcontractor, it was steel. Strictly steel all day, and that could go from embeds all the way to decorative steel. From beginning of projects to end of projects, whatever it was, but that was your area of work. So there wasn't the mix up of having to deal with, HVAC electricians, drywallers, get everybody, the painters, cleaners, everybody on the same schedule and timeline. And sometimes, obviously, the more sticks you have in the fire, sometimes it's harder to keep that fire going because not everybody's burning at the same rate.
What was the hardest part about working for this steel sub?
um I think it was just the um I think it wasn't necessarily just like the last minute request, but I think it was sometimes the extent of some of these last minute requests that some of the sub or the contractors wouldn't fully look into and understand and give you some ridiculous timeline of, hey, I need a crane out there tomorrow and I need 50 balconies hung by the end of the week. It's like, well, I can't pull a crane out of the middle of the sky and we don't have crew set up. We have crew set up somewhere else. So, we'll do what we can, but those kind of last minute knee jerk kind of requests were a little bit difficult to deal with. But most of the time, if you're willing to work with people and just say, hey, look, I'm doing my best, I'll get to you as soon as I can. That's what they want to hear, not just the solid no, not doing it, piss off type situation.
So can you take us back? Because I know you used to work for a general contractor, went to a subcontractor, now you're going back to a general contractor. Can you take us all the way back to when you first
Correct.
started in the trades?
Oh man. So when I first started in construction, I was 15 years old. And it was small stuff, just doing fences. I had my dad's cousin that had a little company. So I was just kind of running around with him, being a laborer, you know, shagging tools, things like that. And just kind of started with those basics, kind of like household construction projects, if you will. Um, from there, after high school, I started doing I'm sorry, not freshwater and wastewater. That was after that, but I started doing underground natural gas pipelining. So we were a subcontractor of Excel Energy, and we would run residential lines, main lines, whatever they really needed for us. And then from there, I went to more of a contracting role, freshwater, wastewater treatment plants for about 5 years. Had a fall about 22 feet, I think they said I fell, hurt my back, and decided to try to shift a little bit and went into more of the multifamily general contracting. So I left the freshwater wastewater treatment plant, went to a multifamily, and have kind of stayed in the multifamily area for a while, for about 8 years now.
The fall was, can you walk us through kind of what happened there? Like, was it the conditions that you were working in? Was it something that you did, or how did that play out?
Actually, it was so we used to set and pour a lot of concrete walls and columns, anywhere 20, 30 foot forms, things like that. And so we were building a column and we were hand setting the form with some Simon's forms. We had one side built up at, a 90-degree angle on one side with braces. I was on the form work and I was getting handed up and pulling up forms to stack on top. I had one 5 footer left, stacked it there. I had a buddy that was across the column from me who was tied off to the rebar cage. I pinned off the form, and as soon as I did, I just felt a shift and looked down, and I could see that the braces weren't nailed in very well in the wood, and they were starting to come out. So the brace and the 2x4 starting to do this real slowly, and then and I was tied off to the form. So I just fell, slammed the ground decently hard. Luckily, when the column fell, it fell over and into like a stack of plywood. So when it hit, it kind of did this, and I was up on top of the formwork. So I didn't get the full brunt of hitting the ground, but I still hit and got like whipped, right? Because of your harness and your positioning hooks. So that screwed up my lower back. It took about 3 years for me to really fully get back. Luckily, nothing was broken. Um, just, move stuff around. Spine was out of place, and just a lot of PT, physical therapy stuff that took a long time, chiropractic. Um, yeah. So, it was one of those freak accidents that, yeah, probably should have, you always want to look at those types of things. But I guess in looking back on it, how many times do you really check and see how good like you see nails in a brace of a form? You're not really going to go up and grab them and see if they're loose and pulling out or what's going on. So unfortunately, I think it was just nature of the beast, I kind of type thing. We were doing everything correctly. Braces were up. We were all tied off. And, I think it was just kind of happens, right? Part of the trade.
I'm glad that you're all right. I mean, we've talked about this and it's come up a few times throughout the episodes, is just your life can change within an instant. Just like you said, it's the nature of the beast, it's the nature of the industry, and it's a very, very real thing. Anything could happen at any given moment, even if it's something you've done 1,000 times. Something can happen. You could be face down after falling 22 feet like you did.
Yeah, it can definitely, it changes your perspective on job sites. It did for me, at least, on the the hidden dangers that we all walk by every single day, or that we take for granted and really don't fully realize how dangerous that is and how scary that is to most people that are not on construction sites, right? Heavy equipment, things like that, just loud noises in general, banging and clanging, and concrete pieces falling from the ceiling when you're stripping formwork. It is out there, but you really got to take a step back and just take a minute and just like, hey, all right, guys, let's just take a check everything, your tools, have one day to do it, tools, equipment, everything. And it's overlooked on job sites, but I think some crews still do it. A lot of guys, it's mandatory for a lot of GCs for their crews to do that, or subs. So it's always a plus.
Right. So after that incident, you said you went where? I apologize. You kind of derailed, but where did you head from there?
That's when I got into more of the multifamily construction side of things. I left the freshwater wastewater treatment plant side of things. It was just a lot of backbreaking work. There's nothing wrong with it. Those guys are awesome. They do great work, but it tears you down and beats you up to climb 30-foot formwork with a 30-pound bag on your back, swinging hammers in the middle of the heat. And the summer in Colorado, it gets to you a little bit. So tried to take a different step, and felt like there was more of a stepping stone at that time. It was in my early 20s, mid 20s. So I was like, yeah, I'll try something different. Nothing wrong to be well-rounded, and ended up sticking around and really enjoying the multifamily side of stuff.
What do you love about multifamily?
I think just in general, I really enjoy being on a project from start to finish and seeing it from a dirt hole to a completed building with people living in it, and the transformation and all the hidden projects and things that people don't see and realize that it takes to get to that point. For most projects, I mean, everybody has their issues when you're going through finals, not even, punch lists, all that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, it's monotonous and draining. But I also kind of enjoyed that. It kept you busy. There wasn't a lot of downtime for me, at least. Your brain's working, your body's working, and that's where I enjoy myself the most, is when I'm physically and mentally always going.
Are there any lessons that you're going to take from working for the subcontractor back to working for the GC as a superintendent?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely given me a different perspective when you have when you're the subcontractor, you have a different pair of shoes that you wear. You're the one that needs to adhere to schedule. You're the one that needs to please your customer, your client, which would be the contractor, however possible. If that's last minute requests all the way to contracted work, whatever it is, it gave me more respect for subcontractors, honestly, and what they go through, not even just on a job site, but multiple job sites. When you're a project manager and you have 5 sites and you're dealing with 5 different groups of superintendents on top of, subcontractors within that job site, it can get a little hairy sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any specific stories that can like illuminate that specific situation of things going a little sideways?
Oh man. Yeah, we've had there's quite a few that, I mean, one that comes to mind is just, when you have different personalities that have met each other before in the past at different job sites, and a few years later they meet back up, and one person might be in a higher role, they're now a superintendent, and the head foreman for the subcontractor doesn't necessarily get along with the superintendent, and there's just clashing the whole time, and it's just like they're bird dogging each other just to bird dog each other, and then it comes into a screaming match, and then people are kicked off job sites for the rest of the project timeline, things like that, where it's just like, guys, like, one, you don't need to be that superintendent. Regardless if you have issues with that person in the past, this is a new job site, this is a new day. Second, don't be that subcontractor and give your company a bad name on top of giving another superintendent the opportunity to kick you off and make you an example.
It is crazy how small the industry is, especially in Colorado. I mean, perfect example is you and I.
Mhm.
We crossed paths. We didn't actually cross paths, but we worked for the same company. Flash forward 3 years, and then all of a sudden we reconvene, talk about it, know all the same people, but we're working together, in a different light. You're in the sub realm, and I'm still in the GC world. It does us no good to piss someone off.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you
No, and you're exactly right, Cody. You never know. I'm sorry, Nick.
I was just going to say, how do you personally handle those situations when things are going sideways and tempers are flaring and you can see the writing on the wall to where things are headed? How do you personally handle it as a sub and as a super? Both sides of the coin.
Uh, uh, it I think it varies from situation and person to person sometimes, but in those situations, you need to be the level head. Yeah, you might need to get a little loud, but you still don't need to get aggressive. And I think there's a difference, because obviously those people are going to be loud as well. So you need to be loud, get their attention, but then break it up. Give them 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Say, you know what, it's the end of the day. We'll talk about this tomorrow. Just split it up. If you guys need to cool off, go cool off. If you can't talk to each other about this with a level head right now, another time, we'll figure it out. There's another day, another hour, not too worried about it. As far as on the subcontractor side, it can be tough because sometimes it's subs fighting each other, right? The drywallers need to get into an area where the framers are, and the drywallers carts are all in the middle of the corridor, and nobody can get down, and it's just those kind of fights where it's like you have to just mediate traffic. It's like, hey, how can we do this better? All right, drywallers, you go this route. Framers, you go this route. That type of situation. I don't think it's ever good to match their aggression, as then that's just going to throw you into a mix. It could be two people fighting and now there's three because you're trying to match their aggression when you should be trying to calm it down.
Yeah, I feel like I hear about the good old days all the time when the superintendent was some old pissed off guy that was always screaming and yelling about everything. That has not been my experience, at least in the last 5 years. What have you experienced? Are things kind of trending in the right direction where we're dealing with things in a more professional manner, or do you still come across those guys that just get red hot right away at any fuck up?
I've seen it a few times in the past year where guys get hot and it's like you're sitting in a sub meeting and then this dude just sits up and pops off for whatever reason. You're like, what in the hell is this all about, dude? And
Mhm.
really, at the end of the day, is that really necessary? Um, but sorry, what was your first question, Nick? As
Ha-
far as trending in the right direction and
mhm.
um, have those old school guys. I did have a couple of those guys back when I was doing gas pipelining. Um, they were pretty rugged, hardcore guys. Welders, those welders were pampered, treated very, very well. And if you didn't do what they wanted, when they wanted, how they wanted it, they would dress you up and down without any problem at all. Now I haven't had that happen in probably 10 years, but I also had a really good superintendent when I was with a general contractor and we were doing a big building downtown. We were having an issue with a subcontractor. And our head superintendent was a very calm, cool, collected guy. Farm boy from Kansas, out in the middle of Kansas somewhere, just, solid, good guy, but always calm. And had some issues, brought it up to him, said, hey, can we go talk to these guys? We go up there and he flipped out and dressed them up and down. And I was just in shock. Like, I've never seen the side of this person before. Like, where the hell did this come from? We turn around, walk out, and start going down the skip hoist. And I'm like, Justin, like, where did that come from, man? And he goes, a well-timed temper tantrum does wonders, but you can't do that shit all the time. And then that was it. I was like, all right, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. There's a time and a place, and anything safety related, you should fly off the handle if someone's putting other people's lives in danger or bodies in danger. I'd say that's a time when you should kind of flip the switch, or certain situations that are critical to the job. But you get like on a big job, you get like 4 of those tops. That might be even too many.
Well, you become the boy that cries with wolf.
Right.
Like if you're not truly valuing your word, sometimes less is more. And we've talked about that a lot. Sometimes less is more. So, I mean, hats off. You said Justin. Hats off to him.
Yeah.
Because it's great advice.
Yeah. Good dude. Yeah. Absolutely.
I was just gonna say, I was just thinking four times on a big job, just what could they be, and where it just is so hard to like make that tangible. There's just so many things that could go.
Well, you gotta pick your you gotta pick your battles, right? If you're battling every day, all day about every little problem that comes up, you're just gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna burn the guys out. Like no one's gonna take you seriously.
Well, that and you're so scatterbrained that nobody is going to believe or want to listen to what you need to get done because in 5 minutes it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being well organized and having a priority list, a lot of people just spaz out and it's like, oh, we got to get it all done at once. Yes, that's what everybody thinks, but that in reality that's not going to happen. So let's logically figure this out and make this work in our favor.
In your opinion, how do you implement that kind of, I guess those skill sets to younger guys and older guys? I feel like the approach is different. between like who you're talking to, but how do you teach that to somebody? How do you instill like slowing down and being methodical about how you're going to attack a situation, in your opinion?
I think it's just you have to lead by example. You can't sit there and not practice what you preach, right? You can't sit there and say, do as I do, don't do as I do, but do as I say type situation. You can't do that. You got to just sit there and be the guy that, yeah, when you got to step up and have a voice and put your foot down, you do that. But then there's other times where you just put your head down and you lead by example. If that's whatever it may be, helping out with a water leak, tearing down some drywall, getting some fire caulk thrown in on a last minute inspection, whatever it is, and not freaking out about it and having your crew see that and have the guys around you just like, hey, all right, can you help me out? Thank you, Cody. Well, let's do this. This is the most important thing. Fire caulk was missing for this inspection. Can you please go handle this in these 3 units? Nick, we've got a water leak in these 3 units. You're going to come with me. Let's grab a shop vac and some brooms, and I'll meet you up there in a minute. You know what I mean? Instead of, Cody, I need you to fucking go get this shit done in fucking these units, and Nick, go get this goddamn fucking, that just spazzes everybody out. And that's when people are going to start working fast, because you're talking fast and yelling, and really like, yeah, it's an important situation and you need to get it done, but it's not going to do anybody good when you start it off on that tone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking everybody from whatever 40-50% and you're bringing them to 110%, and you're missing everything from that point all the way to the issue, and it's an exhausting way to approach things.
That, and you might be missing information, like you might have forgotten to give them information, or you're talking so fast and yelling they didn't get that information, so then they missed something that they were supposed to go do, and then you go check on it, and then, why the hell didn't you get this done? I told you, that type of thing. It's just not good. It doesn't get anything done. And really, I've seen people like run around a corner and trip and fall over a cord. And why? Because we have a small water leak and you hurt yourself or possibly broke your wrist because somebody was yelling about a water leak. Like, yeah, it's important and we need to get it taken care of, but not worth somebody's safety or, getting them hurt.
Yeah. I think in my head, or recently, like on a like professional level, just within the job, talking about prioritizing and listing off things and giving like a good, complete, thought out list to people. I'm curious, with you being from the general contractor world, or being in or working for a GC, then going to the subcontractor world, how many times were you given a full thought out list when you were a sub?
I can honestly say Nick was one of them, and I had one other superintendent, and probably 12 to 15 job sites that I oversaw in the time that I was with this steel company, that actually did that and would stick to that as well, and not randomly, oh, well, you forgot about this thing that goes in between C and D. Well, not on my original list, it doesn't. But we need to sneak it in there. And it's like, guys, I get it, but you're already screwing up your own list, and you want us to get this list done of 6 things originally that was going to be tight in, let's call it 4 weeks. Now those 6 things went to 10, and you still are only giving us 4 weeks,
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of living by the same mantra for the last, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years, however long I've been a super at this point. But like, as a general contractor, you need to make sure that your subcontractor can make money. That's why everyone's there. So their efficiency is your problem. And that's the way I try to look at every situation, you know? Emerson, when we had that balcony situation, you know, we had to get you guys in there out of sequence, but how do we get you in there effectively? How do we do it for, you know, the cheapest amount of money on your end so you're not renting a crane or, you know, we ran through the options. We kind of methodically approached the situation and figured out what was best for both parties. And as a GC, you need to figure out how to do that. You have to open that time, and it can't just be a fire drill rush all the time because it just screws the subs over. But yeah, I mean,
and being on the subcontractor side of it too, when you do have a general contractor that does look and realize and process those situations the way that you do, Nick, it makes things so much easier because it's not all just on you to figure out. This is what I need and this is when I need it, figure it out. Yes, that can be done, but then that leaves the subcontractor feeling like they're on an island and that the GC doesn't really care how they get it done. They just want it done by this date. And that can go from the cost of putting it up to the safety,
yep.
a whole, the timeline, a whole bunch of different things that can really go into it. But yeah, that was a great example, Nick. Like, yeah, we were fighting with a bunch of different situations there. We had crews working down below us. We had power lines. Just
And it was a curveball, right?
Sequencing and how that was all out of it, but we still got it was a little bit of curveball because it wasn't anything that we built or made, but we just installed it for you guys.
Right.
And even during when we were setting these balconies, we were still having issues with embeds missing. And, then we had to get RFIs for, post install options and getting brick removed and things like that, but we were still able to get it done for you guys. And I feel everybody came out ahead.
I think you touched on an important point too. If you're just throwing your subcontractors or your crew members or anyone that's working for you to the wolves to figure stuff out on their own, you're not doing your job properly either. So whether you're running a crew, or running a subcontractor, or running, guys under you working for your general contractor, you have to open up time to support those guys because you can quickly isolate them and, they're going to make a call. They probably are going to make a bad call because you're not opening up the conversation to the group and allowing the time and space to figure things out the proper way. A lot of these fire drill situations that pop up they're complex. It's not a snap your fingers and it's done and figured out type of situation. It usually takes several meetings, weeks to figure out, and weeks to install. So yeah, it's definitely a lesson that I've learned, multiple times through my career. But anyone that's leading a crew, a team, or subs, you always you need to open up that time and space to properly address those situations instead of just pointing, yelling, and expecting it to get done.
Yeah, and just demanding, really,
Sure. Do you have 3 things that you think you'll take with you as you go on to this next portion of your career that'll make you a better mic for a GC?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to, like I said, take a step back and look through whatever situation better and through that subcontractor's eyes in multiple ways. Nick brought up a good one as far as making sure everybody makes money. As long as the GC is not losing a bunch of money on this situation and the subcontractor isn't going under because of a crane rental or whatever it is. That's huge. That's a big thing. Um, and having that mentality, it builds relationships in other ways too, so that these guys will just automatically, because everybody needs to get help now and then, right? Hey, electrician, you want to help me out here real quick? Plumber, those type of things. And if you have these difficult situations that you guys had to work through in your pockets and in your back pocket, and you guys work through them together and everybody's pleased with that, you're going to have a much easier resolution with any problem that you have with anybody on a job site, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen, as long as you're working with them, you have a good attitude about it. And then work doesn't really get work done very much.
Yeah. I mean, you said it at the beginning of this podcast. You mentioned you're so excited to work with the 4 or 5 other gentlemen that you used to work with. I think like when you're in the trenches with people doing this, the unfortunate reality is we're at work more often than we are at home in most cases. So we're with a lot of these people doing whatever it is, these long days, hard weather conditions, hard critical thinking conversations. And when you're with people that show up for you, you're more willing to show up for them, It's just a revolving door. So
Absolutely.
So the one thing would be you're gonna look through the lens of a subcontractor or through their eyes is one takeaway that you have.
Yeah, that's one for sure on multiple levels, not just money, but schedule and just working through issues with them more, and just getting more in depth with that instead of. It's not that I would shove it off at what before, but it would be kind of like, hey, I've only do so much, right? And only anybody can, but going that extra mile, I will definitely find and the time to go that extra mile to give them whatever information they need at that time. Yeah, it's out of left field for everybody, but you're the GC. It's your responsibility to get it done.
Do you have
second thing I would say is, and I've learned this from just an outsider's point of view now, is egos. I think an ego, everybody can kind of get an ego from time to time, depending on what position and where you're at. You're comfortable at this project or with these group of team members, whatever it is. I've seen egos ruin some people's um, just name, really, not their work, but just their name. There's guys in this town now. You guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yep.
You cut out at there's guys in this town
Okay,
that
sorry, No, sorry, my computer was cutting out. There's guys in the town that are blacklisted, that even if they do put estimates in and things like that, because of their egos and the way they've treated people, not necessarily because of their work, their crews will get work done, but the manner of how they get them done is an issue on top of the egos that these guys have. And then it just ruins the job site. Framers come walking in and expecting everything in the world. Well, we've had electricians and plumbers and HVAC guys here way before you. Like, you can't just come in and put your foot down and be a dick about things and expect the world. That's not the way it works.
Right. Yeah, the pride thing is a fine line. You got to have a little bit of it to be successful, in my opinion, but there's a fine line where it crosses to where it's a hindrance in your career.
Sorry.
No worries.
Mike, did you start working straight out of school then? Or have you had any education in the field, or are you just kind of grassroots, worked your way up through the field?
I would say I'm more grassroots and worked my way up through the field. I did go to school or went to college for 2 years and started doing architecture. Thought I wanted to be an architect, and mainly because I got into some trouble. I had to drop out of school and then just and stayed in the trades and have loved it ever since. I
Yeah.
really enjoy working with my hands. I always have. So yeah, once I was able to swing a hammer and build some stuff, and just kind of took it from there.
Yeah, it's impressive how far. Most of the people that we have on this podcast do not have any sort of formal education, 4 year degree wise, trade schools, stuff like that. But it's always astonishing to me how far, you can go. You can go all the way to the top, really, without that formal
Hmm.
education. It just takes time. It's I feel like a lot of the younger generations think it's going to happen in a year. It's more like a couple decades, where you're building on your knowledge, your skills. How has that whole process been for you since you started?
I've been very fortunate with the foremen and superintendents that I've worked under and that I learned a lot from. They were very smart, knowledgeable guys, taught you the right way. And for example, anywhere from doing the right thing for the site to doing the right thing for another person, right? Another trade, whatever it may be. They definitely taught you it's not just your project, your wall, your whatever. It's theirs. It's everybody's. We're all sharing this spot here. We got to make it work. Um, it was tough. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, Nick. You gotta grind and really put some extra hours and work in when you're starting out as a laborer. You start out as a laborer, you're pushing a broom and friggin' carrying 200-pound pole braces, around a job site for all summer. And then you get the opportunity to get your bags on and you can finally start building some forms on the ground. And then maybe 6 months later, you can start getting a harness and maybe climb a wall. It was they weren't just going to throw you into things because they wanted to, at least the guys that I came up with. So yeah, it was tough. Like, a lot of, obviously my back. Little injuries from big ass splinters in your arms, smashing fingers with hammers. What it's tripping over shit, whatever it is. It it's definitely beat my body up a little bit. But I was also lucky enough that I got the opportunity to prove and show these guys that I could run crews on top of getting work done. And then that just kind of snowballed itself and was able to keep going up in the ranks.
Do you have like a memory or your most favorite moment on site?
Oh man, as far as like humorous wise or what? 'Cause
Well,
there's a few that I've had that are
Yeah, hit
do
it.
okay.
humorous,
Well,
yeah.
so when I first started, okay, humorous. We were we were doing freshwater and wastewater treatment plants out in Aurora. It was Queen guy on our crew, big, stocky, sawed off dude. Tatted up, Popeye forearms, just that rugged type guy. And we had to go up and install a vault door. And so he had to be on top of the vault and have it craned down and slid in between a block out of in a concrete wall. So he's standing up on top of this thing, and nobody knew that Dave was deathly afraid of heights. He just kept this to himself. And so when he got up there, he was shaking like a leaf and like and obviously he was tied off with a harness and everything, but just to see him up there and like he could hardly like walk and move and like go 3 feet out onto the wall because he was so scared, and just everybody laughing at him and giving him shit and a hard time, I think was the funnier part of it because we were not expecting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's always, I think it's always the things that catch you off guard that are the funniest.
Yeah, I mean, the heights thing.
But I was gonna say,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I was just gonna say the heights thing catches everyone off guard. I think, like I've seen
Mhm.
plenty of guys, and even myself. Like I'm fine with heights most of the time, but you put me on a swing stage like 10 stories up in the air, and I'm that guy shaking like a leaf up there. It's like it's a different level of heights on some of these buildings.
Oh yeah, and just yeah, you take it for granted how people, you just get used to that. I guess as
Hmm.
working out of a swing stage all day, throwing up windows or whatever it may be. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. It takes a special type of person to work from heights. Like I've always seen those window washers when I was downtown that would be on those. I don't even remember what those fucking chairs are called, but just those little wooden chairs that they
Hmm.
sit on and just start squeegeeing the windows off of friggin' davits on the roof. It's like, oh hell no. You couldn't pay me $10 million a year to be doing that, you know?
Right.
Yeah. What was the thing that you were gonna say?
Oh, so I was gonna say, as far as like the most shocking, I didn't know if you wanted like a shocking story or a funny story, but another
We
one
want
that
it
came to
all.
mind is when I was doing want it all. When I was doing fencing when I was 15, um, working with this short little crusty dude, just meaner than a snake, always had a big old plug of chew in, just very, very calloused man in life and in everything. And so one day we had to cut this bush out of the way to build this fence, and I'm using a sawzall. I'm 15 years old. So I'm taking it slow, trying to go easy and, get to a bigger stump, and it's kind of sticking, and the blade bends, and he gets all pissed off, grabs a new blade, comes over, gets the sawzall, starts cutting through it. And this is how you fucking do it. Cut
Oh.
these 2 fingers straight here, right here.
Oh my
Ooh.
god. What was your
And I mean,
reaction?
just instantly. And it was just like, and I, well, I mean, I was just like, I'm 15 years old, didn't know what the
Yeah.
hell to do. And he's sitting there, fingers are up, blood's coming out. He's kind of like already going into shock. And I'm like,
Oh my
well,
god.
grab your fingers. We got to go to the doctors. So yeah, he grabbed his fingers, threw them in some ice in a Ziploc bag. And then I had to drive the work truck to the ER, which was like this early 70s stick shift Ford, 50s pickup truck with a granny gear in it. So that was an interesting 2 miles to the hospital on top of him screaming and bleeding and everything else.
Do you guys call them high three, or were they able to save the fingers? What?
No, I just give him these every once in a while.
Oh man. Yeah, looking back, would you change anything about your progression through the industry, or are you happy with where you're at and
Mm,
the experience that you've had?
Um, I think early on, if I would have, when I decided to go into construction instead of just doing it for a job at the time, and that's pretty much what it was. I needed to get a job, got into trouble with law, that type of thing. If I had the opportunity to do more of a trade, a trade school, electricians, plumbing, whatever it may be, welding, I think I would have enjoyed that just to have a specialty, but I also enjoy knowing a little bit about most aspects of the job site, right? You know, I kind of like being that jack of all trade type person, or trying to be that guy. I'm not saying that I am, but striving to be that person to know just enough about a little bit of everything where we can figure it out regardless of what's going on, you know?
If you could go
Because really,
back.
like when I was coming up too, like, oh, sorry, Cody.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like when I was coming up through being a carpenter and stuff, like the carpentry school thing wasn't that big. One, because Colorado's not big with unions, right? So we didn't have that kind of union thing to promote the carpentry school. But probably about 5 years into it is when I kind of started to see that more with general contractors, or they were offering that to their, laborers that have been there for 2 or 3 years, put some time, some effort in. Hey, do you want to go to apprentice or carpentry school and become a carpenter's apprentice? That type of thing. I didn't have that opportunity, but I guess I'm not upset with it because I just learned in the field, and it seems like that's a better way to learn at the end of the day. Like, you do learn a lot from books and teachers and things like that, but mainly being in the field and doing it yourself, I feel like is
Yeah, you almost answered my question. I was going to ask, if you could go back, do it again, what trade would you have picked, or what apprenticeship program would you have gone for?
I probably would have done welding, to be honest with you. I've always enjoyed the welding and that type of thing. Um, Probably why I also got into the structural steel part of things after I was in the GC world. But yeah, I think I would have liked to become a welder, and just having that skill and that ability to do. I can do it. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, if it's anything important, I know other people that we could call to get it done.
Did your welds look good, or is it more of like a timely thing in your opinion?
My welds don't look horrible. I think it's a timely thing and just not doing it all the time, right? Like, it's one of those skills that if you don't do it every day, you don't do it for a week, you get back and you're a little bit slower. I feel it's kind of like, I hate saying this, but like mudding a wall, like drywall and stuff. Like, a lot of people think, oh, how hard is that? But you ever textured and mudded a wall and patched a hole and things like that? Like, most people don't realize what it takes to do that, and the right way, at least.
Yeah.
Just a little spackle and paint, right?
Just a little spackle, caulk, and paint.
There's some orange peel and run away.
Mike, I feel like you told me about some of your hobbies when we were working together at Emerson, but what you want to tell our viewers, kind of what you do outside of work, kind of what you're into? You still doing the four-wheeling thing?
Yeah. My brother-in-law, I don't have a Jeep anymore. But my brother-in-law bought one, so we went up last week and kind of cruised around Montezuma area. Still fishing as can. I actually tore my Achilles fly fishing. As odd as that sounds, people usually laugh when they hear that. But
how did you do it?
Fishing, hunting. Obviously, I don't know if you can see stuff in the background. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's my Achilles?
Yeah, how did you do it? What were you doing while you were fly fishing?
Reeling in a marlin.
I was
those Colorado
like
marlins.
I was out of the water, and I was kind of standing on a rock formation like this. Yeah.
How big was it?
Sorry, but our computers are all delayed here.
They are delayed.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I wish. No, but yeah, I caught it, and I just lost balance and slipped and fell. And as soon as I hit the ground, I was like, something hit me in the back of the leg really hard, or I have a really bad Charlie horse in the back of my calf. And yep, drove home, went to the urgent care, and they're like, yeah, you ruptured your Achilles.
Were you by yourself?
Yes, I was. And I had to walk about a half mile out to my truck through the river, and that was interesting.
Damn. Yeah. No, it's no joke. But you were so fishing, hunting, four-wheeling, are those your main hobbies, or do you have some more tucked in there?
No, Hunt, sorry, my computer is like really delayed, so it like catches up to you guys here randomly.
Yeah, I feel like our faces are
Yeah, just
actual time, but then our
fishing, hunting, four-wheeling, outdoor stuff. I have yeah, our voices are off. Yeah. But I have 2 motorcycles as well. Obviously, not riding those currently, but hopefully, maybe I'll be able to enjoy going for a ride before the end of the summer. Um, you know, it's kind of outdoor stuff, man. Just like being outside and doing stuff.
are you a Colorado native?
I am a Colorado native. How about you guys? Nick, think you are, aren't you?
No. Nope.
I am. Nick's a Minnesota boy.
Oh, that's right. You're Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm. How about you, Cody?
Yeah, I'm from here. Yeah, born and raised. I'm a native.
Feel like we need to fix
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Ponderosa. Yeah, I grew up in South Colorado Springs, Central
Oh,
Colorado
okay.
Springs, and then moved up to Ponderosa, and then moved away for a little bit, came back, and this place will always be my home.
Right on.
Feel like we need to fix it.
I don't know how to fix the delay.
We
But
need to fix the delay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's getting worse.
it is.
Yeah, this is kind of it's definitely getting worse.
What do we need to do?
We'd have to close out. I don't know if we would be able to splice all together. But
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep. But
Dang it.
the delay is getting bad. Close it out.
Come on, Cody. What do you do behind the camera?
I just look good, man. That's all. That's my role.
Cody's the camera guy. I'm the sound guy.
That's it. I just put headphones on and talking to a microphone. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up since this delay thing's getting a little rough. Mike, at the end of our shows, we like to give you just an opportunity if you want to thank anyone that you've worked with, any mentors, any crew members that have hooked you up out in the field, and then just anything you want to say to our listeners that may be thinking about joining the trades, jumping on with the GC, or have any interest in getting into construction.
Yeah, so a couple of guys I'd like to thank. I won't throw their last names out there, but they know who I am, and hopefully if they know, they know. Dean, Justin, you guys were awesome. Always have been. Dean, you and I still talk, and yeah, man, you taught me a lot, and I really do appreciate it. Not just professional wise, and gaining and getting my career outside of and getting bags off more or less, and you helping me kind of get in the superintendent role. And as far as people that want to get into the trades, I would um, definitely promote someone to do trade schools. And I think that fortunately now that's becoming a little bit more of the norm, instead of just pushing kids to go to the normal 4-year degree college. I think that, there's a lot of opportunities for kids. And, for me especially, wasn't all, just didn't do well.
We lost your audio, Mike.
No, there you are.
Oh,
We lost that last
we
part.
good?
Yeah,
Yep.
we lost you at
Trade schools.
you promote.
Oh, just promote people to go to trade schools, whatever it may be. You know, if it welding, electricians, you know, those two come to mind obviously first, because those are more of the higher paying ones that you can get into. But yeah, I'd say look into it. If you're not fully set and wanting and willing to put the time to go to a 4-year college or get, you know, a master's degree or something like that, then yeah, look into a trade and see if that'll be better for you.
Oh yeah, man. Well, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Loved hearing your story. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mike. Hopefully we cross paths sometime in the future.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate the invite, and sorry for this delay thing. It's kind of been made things a little weird, but still appreciate you guys having me on.
It's just like an awkward stare off with some really good conversation.
Yeah,
Sweet.
there we go.
Thanks, Mike.